Hello, Scrivener here, and welcome to the first episode of, I suppose I'll just call it Scrivener Talks, because that's exactly what I will be doing. So, just a quick update on the status of the Artemis Prophecy playthrough and myself and all that sort of thing. It is on hold right now because it is near midterm. I have a lot of assignments. I'm actually doing an assignment right now. I figured I might as well do this and talk, so you might hear a lot of clicking and typing, because that's basically what I'm doing right now. What should I talk about? So I have been fairly inactive on the Discord, but then you know who hasn't been recently. I've been more active on a different one. It's a conlagging project. It's collaborative, like trying to simulate the evolution of a language through, I'm assuming, a few thousand years, like from the invention of human language to modern era. It's good fun. Um, right now I'm working on a speech outline and all that stuff because communication is one of those classes. It's basically just a speech class you have to take in college and or university if you're from anywhere other than America, I suppose. I don't really know what everywhere calls it, but around where I am, we call it college, unless it's one that we specifically call university. But then we still just call it going to college. Um, yeah, you're going to hear a lot of rambling in this because I don't really have much to say, honestly. I'm just trying to find something to say to fill up the time, which I'm going to try to keep this going for. How long has it been going? I have no clue, but I'm going to try to keep this going for about 20 minutes. I'm probably going to have to cut it off at some point, but anyway. So, yes. Also, I'm learning Spanish. I'm foreign language major in college, and thus I have to learn. The options were German, French, or Spanish. I chose Spanish because it's more useful where I live. There are a lot less German and French-speaking people around here than there are Spanish-speaking people, and as you know, I live in the United States. Ignore the accent, I'm just bringing this to sort of mask my identity, even though I don't really know. But, yeah, so I'm learning that. Very basic things, estudio español, estudio lenguas extranjeras, cuántas personas hay en la clase, that sort very basic things like that, mainly classroom-related things, and the verbs ser and estar, although those are terrible mispronunciations because I'm still trying to maintain this accent here. Did you know that according to Wikipedia, 70.6% of Americans are Christians or claim to be such? And that being of adults, down from 76 or 75% in 2015, and this was a thing from what? What? I'm confused. I think this was a 2014 survey, but according to 2015, it was 75. 2012, it was 78, and in 2001, it was 81.6%, and 1990 was 85%. As you can see, Christianity is on the decline. As a Christian, I'm not glad about that. I do feel sorry for the people who are dismissing it, but there's not really anything I can do. I don't know most of them. There's not really much outreach I can do in that situation. So, yeah. I'm not being able to focus on this writing here, or talking. And this stuff's due by like 5 tomorrow, and 5 is when I have to be at work tomorrow and today. So I'm recording this it's currently 2:05, and that is in Eastern United States time, same sort of time as New York and all that. Although I don't live in New York. Let's see. Should I just find something to rant about? Because I cannot focus on this writing. I've been having trouble. I answered like 9 questions that were required, and now I've got to work on an outline. And I suppose I'll just have to do that tomorrow, because I also have Spanish to do tomorrow. I have another thing that's due earlier tomorrow, even though it was just assigned today, because my professor is not that great. Like, she's alright, but she just likes to assign things just out of the blue. And it's near midterm, like I said, so there's a lot to do. Yeah. Then my Spanish professor, I like him and all. He's a Spaniard from, I forget where he said he was from, but I don't know. But either way, he's a nice guy and all, but he expects us to not know stuff that he hasn't taught us yet. So if we use words that he hasn't specifically told us, then he'll count off for it, which makes no sense. You should not get counted off for knowing stuff. And second, he counted off one thing for me on assignment that just really irked me, because I use the word portero, which means doorman, if you don't know. Some of you might, but I don't know any of you in person, really, except for my first subscriber, but I don't know if he's going to be watching this at all. But, yeah. And so he said it was because it wasn't in the vocabulary, but it was in the lesson, because there was a video thing, and Don Diego, Mr. Diego, was introduced as El Portero, the doorman, and there were captions on it. So it's just like, why are you counting me off for putting something that was in the lesson? I don't care if it was vocabulary, it was in the lesson. But yeah, I don't think he really knows what's on there. We're using VHL Central, and I actually have it right here. What's it called again? Sorry for hearing a bunch of ruffling. It's Vista's Introducción a la Lengua Española, and we're currently on the Lección 2, which on Lección 2, I think I've got most of it down, but there's some prepositions that I don't quite get. Like, I remember al lado de, a la derecha de, a la izquierda de, allá, or allá, and allí, I have trouble with. I mix them up all the time. I think allá is over there, and allí is there. I know cerca de, con, debajo de, delante de, detrás de, en, encima de I have trouble with, but I think I've got it down. Entre, between, lejos de I don't remember at all, and sin and sobre I remember pretty well. But yeah, so that is what I am dealing with right now. Dealing with an essay, a speech that I have to do, even though it's going to be recorded and I could make things a lot less stressful. It's pretty stressful right now having this thing due tomorrow, when I have like 3 other things due tomorrow, and they're all not, like, they're not small things, that's for sure. And one of them was just signed today. I thought it'd be fine, but now I don't know. Oh yeah, and statistics. I do not like statistics. I'm almost as bad at statistics as I was at geometry, and that is really saying something, because I was terrible at geometry. Could have also had to do something with my terrible sleep schedule, but because I barely slept during then, I was depressed. I was hopeless romantic. I still am hopeless romantic, but it's not as bad because I sort of recovered from that. But yeah, sorry if there are going to be just pauses randomly. I'm trying to think of what to say, because there's a lot to relay. Hey, it rhymed. That way you know it's true. But so, hello Milton. Which one? Who was the first of the 7 scribes? I think Milton was the first of the 7 scribes, and then there was Snapely, or Princess Fireball, something like that. I'm forgetting what the other one was, but I still just remember her as Snapely. Let's see. There was Tay. If gonna sound all redneck doing that, Tay, but that's the sort of name you can't say without sounding a little bit redneck, in my opinion. Because otherwise, it's just Tay, and it's like, how much tea do you want, really? If you're talking about 10 and whatever, I don't know. I'm going on a tangent there. I don't actually remember who all of them are. I'd have to check the thing I put on the video. I need to like keep a document keeping track of that or something. Maybe make it public to the like channel or whatever, so that you can see, hey, these are the 7 subscribers, and maybe I'll just do like a ranking system so it changes out every now and then. I don't know how I'm going to rank it, but you know, but yeah. Anyway, oh yeah, if any of you know what knee-high peach is, I've never had it before yesterday, that is. It is amazing. It's like a peach soda, basically, and it tastes like a peach, but it's a soda, and it's very interesting, to say the least. It's very good. It's definitely a lot better than that tamarind soda that my brother likes to get. And there's this non-alcoholic sangria that we get at Dollar Tree a lot. It's really good. But back to knee-high. My mom was always talking about how it was good, and I had never tried it before, at least that I remember. She might have brought it home at some point, but I was a lot younger then if it did happen. Like, at least 5, 6 years. And do you really expect me to remember a single can of soda from 5 or 6 years ago? I don't think so. But yeah, my father has been having some health issues, not any that he's noticed, but some that my mom has noticed, because, like, I'm not going to go into depth on that because that's a very personal family thing, but there is some stress there too, because I hope he's okay, and especially seeing the condition we think he has runs in the family on both sides, so, like his mother has it, his wife, my mother's mother, my grandmother, I call her my mama, has it. So if I don't be careful, I might get it too. And I'm going to try to avoid that. And I'm hoping he doesn't have it, but the signs are pointing heavily toward it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm still working around 22 hours a week, which isn't too bad, but there's a lot of assignments and that sort of thing. I'm a drive-through cashier. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that before on the Discord or anything, but that means that I have to, like, sure, I wear a mask, but most of the customers don't. And, well, I'm not crazy. Like, I'm not going to freak out at them for not wearing it. I live in a county where you only have to wear it if you come inside or within 6'8" of another person outside. And it's just sort of like, oh yeah, and if you're like food service like me and other sorts of things. And each individual location can decide their policy besides you have to wear it while you're inside and around people. Like at churches, they can decide whether or not like people have to wear it. My church is just like, hey, if you want to wear it, wear it. If you don't. Just we do have social distancing within church. It's like basically you sign up for service so they know how many chairs to group together, and each group gets their own section of chairs with about 6 or more feet between. I've not really measured how many feet. I just know there's and there's 2 services now, which took a while to get used to. But it does mean that I can wake up a little later on Sundays because I go to the 11 o'clock instead of the 9 o'clock when the service was originally at 10 o'clock or 10:30, something like that. But still, yeah. I have been dealing with a lot of personal issues, things to do with my morality, and I will not go into depth on those. But just know that they're there. If you do pray, if you do pray, then pray for me, please. I It's something that I really need help with. Um, like yeah. Just pray for me if you pray. Um, yeah. I don't know where to go after that. Just pray for my father, my dad, as I always call him, and my mother, my mom, because my mom's going through a lot of stress because of my dad, and my dad is going through a lot of stress because of my mom, because she's seems to be more concerned with his health than she is, or than he is rather. And yeah, like oh please just pray if you do, just pray please. Um, but yeah, I think I've mentioned it on the Discord before. I do plan to be a pastor. As to why I'm doing foreign language as my major is because I was going to do pastoral ministry. It's a very specific college. Lee University was the college I was planning on going to, but there was no transfer pathway to that, and I want to get my. I live in Tennessee. I believe I've said this before, but the Tennessee Promise is basically 2 free years of college if you keep your academic stuff and volunteer enough. And you know, there if you went with a non major pathway, which is what I would have had to do to go into pastoral ministry at Lee after the 2 years, then it would have been no financial aid, and that was the entire point that I was choosing to go where I'm going. Although I'm not going, I'm coming down to my living room and sitting on the computer for like 7 hours straight, sometimes more, not all for class, but to do schoolwork and whatnot as well. But yeah, so I'm doing foreign language because first off it would help in the ministry, second off it would help in everyday life. I get a lot of Spanish speaking customers who don't speak much English, so there's that. Yeah, and I might work as an interpreter while I'm like basically once I've gotten out of that. What am I trying to say? Once I've gotten out of the 2 years of Spanish, I might work as an interpreter. Just like my mom, she's a pre-K teacher, and they have a lot of Spanish-speaking students because this is where I live. There's just a lot of immigrants, and their families tend to speak Spanish when they're younger, especially. Um, and then after that go to leave for the last 2 years if I can. If my grades are still good enough, please let them be. Especially with things like statistics. Everything else I'm good with, but statistics specifically, I have a lot of trouble with. So if you want to give any tips on statistics in the Discord, or just in Discord in general, then feel free to DM me. I will gladly take all the help I can get with statistics. Yeah, let's see, what else? Well, yeah, after college, I am planning to switch to pastoral ministry, but maybe double major it and do foreign language to continue the Spanish stuff. But as a pastoral ministry major, you have to learn Hebrew or Greek. I chose Hebrew, and I had my classes scheduled, but it's just like, okay, I'm going to a community college now, and if you know Tennessee, you know there's only a few of those, so you can probably narrow it down pretty quickly. But, well, there's only a few that I know about that are in my area, at least, and one of them is the most widespread, but there's a lot of locations for it, even ones that aren't in the right city, which doesn't make, why is there not a Dayton state? And why? But, so, yeah. So there is a lot of speculation about my future with me, at my church, because I am choosing to be a pastor. That is what I feel called to. There is a lot of focus on me from I love my pastor, I love my church, but there's a lot of focus from people besides the pastor, like my youth pastor. He's really supportive. My pastor, he's really supportive. Love those guys. But don't mess with my pastor in a game of paintball, because he does not follow the rules in paintball. I remember he nicknamed my team one year Team Estrogen, and I don't know why, but he did. And it was kind of amusing, especially afterwards. But um, there's people who I don't really speak to a lot at my church, because a lot of them are new, or a lot of them I just haven't spoken to much growing up, and I grew up in the church I go to, who seem to treat me preferentially to more better than some of the other people my age there, because I'm assuming it's because I want to be a pastor, and that puts a lot of pressure on me because I don't want to disappoint them in any way, shape, or form, because I may not know them very well, but I still love them. It's part of my religion to love them, and yeah. So pray for them too, I suppose. Pray for them to realize that I am not this chosen one. I will mess up. At some point, I have messed up. I will mess up. I will probably continue to mess up for the rest of my life. But I will always try to get better at not messing up. And I am just hoping, beyond all hope, that I can minimize that. I have been messing up a lot lately. Not in ways that they would know about, but just I've been messing up. That's why I need prayer. I need people to help me. Because, the Bible says when two people come together and agree on something and it is in God's will, and pray for it in his name, then there will be, then he will work things out. But the thing about Christianity is it should not be a religion. I'm not saying that it should not exist. I'm saying it should not be a religion. It should be a relationship. And I'm sorry if I'm getting all religious on you, but that's just what's on my mind right now, because that is what is on schedule for the rest of my life. And hopefully long afterwards. But it should be a relationship between you and God. Not just you, but everybody separately. I'm not a confession type of person. I don't believe that you have to tell a priest your sins. Your sins are between you and God. Now, if you want to tell somebody your sins and help them, ask them to pray for you, then ask them to pray for you. Do it. When two people come together, it helps. And hopefully, there's a lot of you who do pray, even if you don't pray to the same God I do. I'm still asking you to pray, because while I do believe that my God is the only real God, if he's not, then there's still other gods. Pretty much the only thing you have to do to prove that God does not exist is to prove that God exists. That's the only thing you can do to do it, because there is nothing in science that points away from God. But there is nothing in science that points specifically to my God. There are things that the Bible points to that are scientific, such as the currents of the sea, such as the Revelation talks about sending light to say, "Here I am," as an example message, which is the message that it uses. But that is what radios and telephones are. They are light waves that are sent to send a spoken message. Or there's still things like Morse code and whatever that stuff is. But yeah. But please just pray, because I am going through a lot, and I have brought this to a ranting video, just asking you to pray, just because I need prayer. Please, just please. Let's try to step away from that for a moment. I don't know how easy that's going to be, but I'm going to try it. Yeah. I've been dealing with a lot of stressful customers. I have terrible back pain for the last 2 days. Like, it's just killing me. I woke up yesterday, like, in excruciating pain, and now I'm still having to be careful not to move too far, like, not to twist too far, not to bend too far forward, all that, just because it still hurts a lot if I do. Hopefully that'll be gone by tomorrow. Might not be. Please pray for that as well, if you read this by then. Or if you read this by then, if you see this / listen to this by then, because there's not really a lot going on screen. There's just my avatar, my most recent one, and the Iron Man's Prophecy sort of purple forest background. But yeah, yeah. Please pray for me, pray for my family, pray for my other family, my church family. Pray for my sanity at work, because there are a lot of difficult customers lately, especially because it's not as bad as when coronavirus was first announced as a pandemic, because then all we got were crackheads and old people, and the crackheads were really hard to deal with. The meth heads, the crackheads, what do you call potheads? Is it? Yeah, I think so. The potheads especially, because the smell of weed gives me a serious headache, and it is illegal around where I live. It is illegal in most of the United States, but also around, including where I live. But there's not really much you can do about it. It's just you have to deal with the headache for the rest of the 3-4 hours, sometimes more, that you're working. Because people just don't understand. First off, don't smoke in my drive-thru. Just don't. I do not like it. Keep your cigarettes, keep your weed, keep everything out of my drive-thru if there is smoke involved. Or if there is not smoke involved and it has a really strong smell, keep it out unless it's a good smell. Like if somebody goes to Ichabod, which I've only been to once, if somebody goes to Ichabod and brings their food through the drive-thru, and I smell it, sweet, like that's a beautiful smell. Please, more of that, but less of the smoke, especially cigarette smoke. It's one thing if you just accidentally burn something, because that's a different sort of smoke. I smell it all the time. I work at a fast food place. We have grills and things sometimes burn. But sometimes plastic as well, which I hate when that happens. And last time it happened was my fault because I just sort of kept the thing too close to the grill. But still, yeah. I'm not going to drag this on any longer than it has been. So, because I've probably lost most of you by now, especially Snapely, I believe isn't religious from what she has said. But Snapely, if you are religious in any way, then pray for me. Please, I need all the prayer I can get. But yeah. I think there's still only 4 of the 7 scribes right now, so if you want to be one of the 7 scribes, hit me up. I'll figure that out eventually. So yeah, this has been Scrivener in the first episode, and possibly the only episode, but probably not, honestly, because sometimes I just want to give updates, just rant to myself for a while, and pretend like I'm ranting to somebody else. This has been Scrivener Talks. I'm out.